What's going on, guys? So welcome to today's stream weather discussion number 3. So today, as you saw by the title, we're going to be talking about a powerful not nor'easter, actually, it's not a nor'easter, a powerful storm that's going to be aiming the northeast. Impacting it's already impacting parts of the northeast as well. So yeah, we're gonna get right into this. This storm has also associated a ton of severe weather down here in Florida. There's been 3 confirmed tornadoes, not yet rated, but I'll bring that to you when that comes out, probably tomorrow. But we have a big swath of flood watches and wind advisories, and then for Maine and a little portion of New Hampshire, we got winter weather advisories. That's for some freezing rain at the onset, and could be some fairly heavy freezing rain up in very northern tip of Maine. I was not able to get all my maps put together for this stream, so we won't be looking at that. Sorry about that. They just would have taken so much time, and yeah, I just forgot about it all. Trying to put it together, and I want to get this out. So yeah, there's that. So we have wind advisories in effect for South Carolina, a little part of Georgia over here, Georgia down here, a little portion of Alabama, and most of Florida is under the wind advisory. We're gonna click on into the northeast. So here's this area. We have high wind warnings for the Cape and Nantucket. For winds that could gust over 60 miles per hour. We also have coastal flood warning in effect for Long Island Sound here in Connecticut, for like Bridgeport and New Haven, and flood advisories for this includes New London, Westerly, Rhode Island, Newport, and wind advisories in effect for including Boston and coastal areas of Massachusetts and even inland Massachusetts and part of Connecticut, and also here in the Berkshires. And then the green, that is that flood watch for locally up to 6 inches of rain is possible. So yeah, and the winter weather advisory up here. And then a gale warning and a storm warning. We'll take a look at some of these alerts. So here's the storm warning for winds that could be gusting up to 50 knots and seas up to 15 feet. And where's this for? This is for Provincetown, Massachusetts, and Nantucket. So there's that one. We'll go back and look at the high wind warning because that is one of the. We're actually going to be safe here in southern New England. It's saving us. We're going to have a stable layer in the atmosphere tomorrow. So the winds are going to be screaming up about 5,000 feet above our heads at over 140 miles per hour. But we're going to have a stable layer, so not all of that will mix to the ground, and you'll get some frequent gusts up to 60 miles per hour, especially in the high wind warning area. So here it is, winds southeast 20 to 30 miles per hour sustained and gust up to 60. The high winds could bring down some large tree limbs, trees, and power lines. Scattered power outages are expected this is for the Cape Cod, Nantucket, and Martha's Vineyard. So there's the high wind warning. We'll actually go for the wind advisory now. And we'll check out the coastal flood warning because there could be some pretty substantial minor to moderate coastal flooding. So the wind advisory, winds that could gust up to 45, and some small tree limbs and weakened trees and power lines could come down. Isolated power outages possible. Locations. No locations here, I don't think. Oh wait, here's all the locations. I'm not going to read all those though. You can just pause this right here if you want to see what the areas are that will be affected. And then we'll look at the coastal flood warning. And then we're going to check out how the storm is in the mid-Atlantic and in the south, because it's affecting those areas tonight right now. It's actually starting to affect us here in the Northeast as well. So coastal flood warning in effect from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. tomorrow for high tide in the morning. vulnerable coastal locations along western Long Island Sound, around 2.5 feet above astronomical tides. Widespread flooding in vulnerable areas. Expect 2 to locally 3 feet of water above normally dry ground in low-lying areas in the vulnerable areas. So the shoreline impacts breaking waves of 2 to 4 feet. And in Long Island Sound, you don't get big waves that much. I've been down to the beaches there. The waves are not even a foot. So to have 4-foot waves is pretty substantial for Long Island Sound because you don't normally get waves that big unless you have a pretty strong storm. And this could splash over into shoreline roads and minor damage to shoreline structures. So every time we have a storm like this with strong onshore push of winds, you usually get these pretty big waves. So it's not like non-normal. It's pretty normal to have coastal flooding in these areas. If you live down there, you know. So now we'll go down to the Mid-Atlantic region. Oops, there we go. So we'll include New Jersey. So for most of New Jersey, it's just a coastal flood advisory, but you do have coastal flood warnings up here. New York City is in a coastal flood warning or advisory. You can't really see, but you also have the flood watch. You have coastal flood warning. You have flood warnings. I think this might be actually flood warnings. Can't really tell the difference now, but it's either flood warnings or or coastal flood advisory because the colors are very similar. So, oh, never mind. These are the flood warnings over here. And you have, I'm pretty sure flood advisories, right? Nope. So, these areas could see, the weather, right? Oh, wait, it can just go, never mind. Heavy rain, potential flooding Thursday and Friday, there we go. Let's go here, see if this will work. It's PDF. Well, we'll check out other areas, because that's just a PDF. We'll check out Florida. The severe thunderstorm watch is still in effect for part of the area. We'll go for southern Florida right now. And this is probably where the severe thunderstorm watch. Yep. Here's the current radar loop. Storms are finally pushing offshore after seems like hours of storms. So, and it looks, there's the severe thunderstorm watch for the Keys. This just includes the Keys now for the severe thunderstorm watch. And then you have gale warning elsewhere, and high surf advisories for winds that, waves that could be up to 10 to 15 feet. So the severe weather set is finally subsiding. So, yeah, low temperatures tonight in South Florida, pretty mild, 60s and 70s, and a little bit of 50s up there. And then the rain chances tonight are about pretty high, 90 to 100%. And now we'll check tropical tidbits for the latest on the forecast for the Northeast and New England. As well as we'll be checking out your Christmas update, which for some it's probably disappointing because the chances are lowering for a white Christmas for most. Although there is confidence increasing for Chicago, you guys might be in for a white Christmas. If you have any questions, if you live in the Northeast, feel free to ask them. Alright, so here comes, this is the newest run of the GFS model. So you can see the rain starting tonight, a little bit of freezing rain, possible up in Maine. And then you can see this huge, this is the newest model of the GFS. You can see a huge stripe of rain stretching through central Connecticut, Massachusetts, up into coastal Maine and New Hampshire. So that's where we can have some of the highest totals. We're possibly up to locally up to 6 inches. And then the storms, we'll check out winds as well. And then you can see some snow on the back side of this system. So we'll take a look at how much rain you can expect. So you can see that stripe of rain, the Jersey Shore all the way up through most of Connecticut, good portion of central Massachusetts, up through coastal Maine, and most of New Hampshire. Could be looking at 2 to possibly even 4 inches of rain. And then for snowfall, since there's going to be some on the backside, we'll take a look. It's not going to be much. A general 1 to 3 inches. Maybe you can get up to 5 or 6 inches in the highest elevations. So now we'll take a look at these winds that will be affecting the areas tomorrow. So you can see the low pressure is starting to form here, and as it comes up through the east, it will rapidly intensify and spit out a ton of rain and throw a ton of wind at us. And you can see, here we go tomorrow afternoon. You can see Rhode Island and parts of Connecticut and a little portion of Massachusetts. Long Island can be looking up some winds up to 70 miles per hour, which would be insane. And then as the low pressure continues to deepen, you have Cape Cod could be looking at some hurricane force winds. And then as the storm pulls away, it's still intensifying. Look, as Cape Cod, Boston could be looking at... No, just note these are a ways up, probably 5,000 feet above the ground. But what it's looking at is... What we're looking at is the potential for some very strong winds on Cape Cod, as the instability will be less than it is inland. So the atmosphere will be a little more unstable. And then the storm pulls out and you get more winds on the backside of it. Not as strong, but still pretty gusty. And if you do live in the Northeast and you have some Christmas decorations, you might want to bring those in or tie them down for tomorrow. And then more winds for a little bit more wind for Sunday. Those probably won't mix down that much. And then we finally clear out, and now we turn to Christmas. So now we will go back to the precipitation radar to see who will be in store for a white Christmas. So here we go. This is going to be our next weather maker. After Saturday, things are relatively quiet across the nation. For the Pacific Northwest, we have the rain. That's been happening. We've been getting crushed with rain the past week, and tornadoes. That tornado up in Port Orchard, Washington, was rated EF2 and was the strongest since 1986. So this will most likely become the next weather maker. You can see a little bit of snow coming through New York into parts in the Northeast on Christmas Eve. Not going to be a big deal. And then we got a low pressure. The GFS doesn't really show this, but the European model does. It shows a nice storm, light snow mainly across Chicago, parts of the Midwest into Ohio. Shows a good 1 inch to 2 inches of snow at most. GFS doesn't really show that. But here's the next weather maker after Christmas. A big low pressure system and a high pressure here will create. This could become a blizzard, because in the area that's known for blizzards, Blizzard Alley. So we have a low pressure right here that's big, the L right here, and then the high pressure, which is bringing cold air from Canada in. And as those two come close, it makes a huge pressure gradient, which creates very strong winds near blizzard conditions. So here we go. Chicago, this one will miss you, but it will dump a tremendous amount of snow. If this model's holds, this will be in a week from today, actually. So you will see pretty good amount of snow. And then that pulls away into the Northeast, and then more rain for you guys in the Northeast. Northern Maine will see some snow. But we'll take a look at how much the GFS is saying for snow. It probably shows a pretty good, it shows a pretty good swath of snow through Minnesota and South Dakota and into Nebraska. This will definitely change, just something to keep in mind, but this is till the 28th, and not a ton of people. We'll wind this back for the day after Christmas. Here's Christmas Day, here's the day after, so not the usual spots in the mountains will see some snow, but the GFS doesn't pick up on a ton of snow elsewhere. Maybe, you need 1 inch for it to be classified as a white Christmas, less than an inch for most. But the higher elevations could see a good deal of snow. So, yeah, that's going to be it for the stream, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. this stream. Stay safe. If you are in the Northeast, prepare. Prepare time is probably done now. The storm is starting to come through. So if you are in the Northeast, just stay safe from the strong winds, especially on the Cape. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next stream.